Not like this. Okay. Chat there.
Yep.
Chat there. And then boom. I wanted to see this too, so it's right there.
Virginia, Delaware, New York, Michigan, Washington State, Colorado. A lot of folks. Instagram. Y'all tell me where you're from. We've got friends here on, okay, so we are live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I am Dr. Stephanie Wade. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm a certified eating disorder specialist, and this is my favorite hour of the week when I come on and go live, and we kind of just like hang out together. So I did want to, okay, Alexander Brown AB945 on Instagram. They need a big thumbs up and a smile, just wishing them good luck. So if anybody is needing some kind, so here's your thumbs up. You got this. Here for you. I believe in you. I'm just now seeing only my forehead is on Instagram. Sorry about that. I'll try to get like in a spot. So if anybody else is needing support today or love today or high fives, let us know and we'll try to catch them. Y'all catch each other in the comments and high five or, you know, hug and love each other from afar. One of the things I've loved about this is the community that I have found on social media. Like, social media can be so toxic, I know, and annoying. I contemplate deleting it all the time, but I love this community and I love the connections that I've made, and I love to see people here like support each other, and I think that's really just beautiful and awesome. So on YouTube, all of you forever from Indiana, I have so my family grew up, my parents are from like the south suburbs of Chicago, and so family lived in Indiana. Actually, they lived in Gary, Indiana, which if anybody knows what makes Gary, Indiana famous, then you get like a gold star. So that's how I am familiar with Indiana. And then send me all the stuff. Yay, welcome. Hi everybody. So let's see where we've got friends from. Cool. Is it okay to be scared of going to every other week for therapy? No, I don't think so. Usually, you go to every other week therapy because you're doing kind of okay. You're managing well enough that your therapist doesn't need to see you every week. You've made progress. But I'll also say sometimes maybe you are having a rougher time, but you're still, every other week therapy can still also be appropriate. Things are like time, money, like, you know, therapy is an investment in time. It is an investment in money. And I know that those things can get tight from time to time. And so maybe every other week is what you need or you want more, but that's kind of what works best for you. And I always say, like, that can be effective and that can be really useful to do every other week therapy. Sometimes what happens with that is a lot of life is lived in those 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and so you want to be careful, I guess, with your therapist and have some boundaries where for a few minutes, you know, we'll catch up and you can kind of talk about the weeks and the things that have come up, but you want to make sure that, you know, you are still finding time to address the things that you need to be addressing. So that would just be my caveat. And I even think that's okay with weekly therapy, to be direct with your therapist in that way. Or to be honest, your therapist like that's our job to guide treatment too, and also be a part of the therapeutic process, and to be kind of like, we know why you're coming to see us, and we're bringing those elements into our sessions with you. But if that's something you are worried about, right, that every other week may not feel like enough, talk to your therapist about that and see if there's a way to set up some like framework or boundaries or guidelines, to make sure that you're still getting what you need out of that time with your therapist. So Amy Farnham on Instagram, having lunch with coworkers, eating in front of people, huge win for me. That is amazing. Congratulations. Way to go, Amy. Let's give Amy some love. And then we've got PGR Gymnast for Life needing some support today. They are in Colorado. So if folks on TikTok, folks on YouTube, folks on Facebook, if you are giving our Instagram folks love, or vice versa, any of these platforms, shout them out, let them know that you're here, and I will be, you can see the on our screen, except Instagram, I'm sorry, but everywhere else the TikTok comments are up on the screen, so I'll be sure to holler for any love that y'all may get. So y'all are doing so great. I'm so proud of everybody who is here. I think just showing up today to this says a lot, right? It's a big deal. So my therapist talks to me like I have an eating disorder but hasn't told me a diagnosis. Do I ask her? Absolutely, you can ask her. Let me share my thoughts on that. Hold on a second. Soccer Girl 028 also is having lunch with their coworkers. So good job. Jay and Rosie having a rough week. So can we just, Jay and Rosie, it's Monday, and I don't know where that falls in the week for you. So I'm sorry that you're having a hard week. You can do this. I'm glad that you're here. I'm proud of you for showing up just to get some support and love and putting yourself out there. So welcome, and we're here for you. Okay, so my thoughts on diagnosing. I'm not a big fan of telling clients what they're diagnosed with. It's real easy to get caught up with the label. And I treat all eating disorders the same. Binge eating, anorexia, orthorexia, like they're all the same for the most part, and how I approach treatment of that. And sometimes it's so, why does this matter? Why am I saying all this? Sometimes I don't know that a diagnosis is important. It is your health. It is your health plan. It is your treatment. And so you have every right to know as much information about that. What am I being treated for? What are we doing to treat this? There is like disordered eating. There are eating disorders that aren't always as like specified and as specific. And so maybe your therapist is hearing and seeing things in food behaviors and food body beliefs. That doesn't mean that you always need a diagnosis to have a fucked up relationship with food in your body as well. And so, but I do think it's okay to ask that question, but know that it isn't necessary to have a diagnosis of an eating disorder to be working on food and body issues. So, but ask your therapist those questions, and see what their thoughts are about your treatment and what are they working on, because you want to be working on the same thing that you like. We therapists, we see things, right? But that's not always why maybe you've come into counseling. And so you're wanting to deal with something. So you want to make sure that you're addressing what you want to be addressing, and hearing what that therapist also is seeing, and trying to improve in those areas if those are things that like you're ready to work on and want to heal. And okay. Indiana, we've got someone else from Indiana. Let's see. Oh my gosh. So this is a great, so someone here says, JN Rosie, I hear that, but please eat, nourish your body. I will be eating today too. We can do this. So yay. See, we're all here doing this. Everybody who's here for meal support, grab your lunch, grab your snack. I'm going to take a bite, and then I'm going to address, Go Eden CM's question about Halloween and Thanksgiving. Y'all, I can hear myself in a thing over here talking back. I'm gonna lose my mind. I don't know how to turn it off. Thank you. I have a Facebook comment here. First time being live, or is able to sit for a live. We're so glad you're here, Courtney. Hello, welcome.
Better.
So sick at home for a week, making the eating disorder loud. Yeah, it's really hard when we get sick to try to manage recovery. That doesn't mean it's impossible, right? I just think it means that, when we're sick, our appetite, everybody's appetite gets messed up. We either, our appetites just get messed up. It's not like it is in the normal day to day when we're sick. And so it's trying to take care of your body, right? What do you need? Rest, medicine, fluids. You need to eat to give your body that energy to fight whatever like your body is working through or trying to heal from. So it's finding like what are foods that when you're sick, like comfort you or make you feel better. It may not taste super great, or it may not be like super like exciting to eat, but think of it as this is giving my immune system energy to fight this so that we can heal. One more bite, and then this holiday. Okay, so Go Eden CM's question is, with Halloween and Thanksgiving coming up, do I have any tips to handle it all? And I have so many tips. I may not get to any other questions, but we'll see where this goes. What? And Gerline 116, your question on birthday, listen up. I still hear my voice, Michael. I still hear my voice. It's coming out of something. It's this thing over here.
No, I know what it is. I had a secondary.
Okay. Hopefully that, it was really distracting. Okay. Halloween, Thanksgiving, all the holiday traditions with food and candy and desserts, we're headed into that season. And this is a pretty tough time of the year for just the people that I work with, because there are a lot of food traditions that happen, and right when you're in recovery from an eating disorder, that feels really overwhelming and really scary. Halloween, Thanksgiving, they're just days where we celebrate with food because it is 100% okay to celebrate with food. Humans, we need connection. Connection is so important that is a vital piece of our mental, emotional, physical development as babies. Is how are we connecting to the people in our environment? How are we relating to them? That's what's most important to becoming and growing and flourishing as a human, is my ability to connect with people. So when we do that over meals, and we do that with our family, or we do that with friends, or we do that with coworkers, right? It is, I am coming in community, I'm coming in tradition, I am coming in connection to be with people, to say I am a part of this, I am a part of something. And so the meal is a way for you to connect. That candy is a way for you to connect. That candy, if you eat it on the day after Halloween or you eat it on the day before Halloween, is okay. I give my clients 100% condition to eat food. However, that is different for every single one of us. That is very, very nuanced. So I can't tell you how to eat or what to eat. I can only tell you that if you eat Halloween candy, or if you have to attend 4 Thanksgiving meals because your family is like that, and you choose to eat those meals in abundance, and you do that the day after Thanksgiving, or you do that the days leading up to Thanksgiving, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You deserve to eat. You deserve to enjoy food. You deserve to sit in connection with people and eat. And what you eat, how much you eat, has no value on who you are as a person at all. It will not affect anything. Now, for those in recovery, I know this all sounds really scary. You're like, that's the dream, right? Like, okay, great. So I have on my YouTube channel, the Recovery Academy with Dr. Steph, I have videos specifically giving tips on holiday eating and parties and celebrating. I will be sharing some of those like on my social media from now until like the end of the year probably. But if you're wanting like those tips, check out my YouTube. I think like a couple of things I suggest are like, do you have a buddy, or do you have some kind of support or a person at these things that it's kind of your like wing person, right? They're gonna eat with you. They're gonna, reassure you if you're having a hard time. If they're not there to be available with you, can you text them? Can you email them? Do you have some kind of like access to them, so that if you're having a really hard time, you have like a person there to help you get out of your head, or to help distract you, or help, remind you of how badass you are. Instagram, any questions? I don't see any. So I also think it's okay to have a plan, right? So maybe you write down a list of like, I don't know, 5 to 10-ish things that you can do should you get really anxious or really overwhelmed or have a really hard time at a meal. You have this list of things that you like can do to help you get through that meal, or help you get through that time after the meal. And maybe tip number 3, I don't know what number this is. I would do not restrict leading into these events, birthday parties, holiday parties, don't restrict leading up to it. Eat normally. Eat every few hours. Have a meal. Show up. And it's okay if you eat some more at the party. But here's the thing too. Let's say you've eaten. Let's say you go to dinner, right? And you show up in this party, this holiday party, and there's food there. You're also allowed to say no. You're also allowed to decline the food if you're feeling full. So that I like to use a hunger fullness scale. It's from 0 to 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Or hunger. 5 is that middle place. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are fullness. And so you want to avoid extreme hunger, which would be like a 0, 1, and you want to avoid extreme fullness, which would be like 9 and 10. So if you can stay in between that like 2, 8-ish number, 3, 7-ish, 3, 8-ish, right? Number 3, 7-ish, that's okay, right? So if you say, okay, well, you know, I want to make sure I stay full, but not too full. So when I start to be a 7, 7.5 on that scale, I'm going to step back. I'm going to take a break. I can, you know, go back and get pie after I've let it settle for a little bit, right? If you are about a 3 of hunger, right? You want to eat something. You want, so to avoid getting super, super, super hungry. So maybe try to keep that scale in mind on these things too, to help you just decide, okay, where am I at? You know, okay, I'm a little hungry. I'm a little full, you know, do I eat? Yes, I'm hungry. Am I overly full? I can stop eating now. Summer Brogdon ate lunch today and a dessert. Yay! So proud of you. That's amazing. Congratulations. Okay, so there's a person in here talking about calories. Let's ignore this person. My advice on people wanting to tell you calories, unless they are a registered dietitian who you've established a relationship with, no one, not your doctor, not your parent, not your friend, not Google, not your therapist, no one should be telling you what to eat unless they are your body or your registered dietitian. Do not take anybody else's advice on food because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So, Snickerdoodle. Your comment here about accepting your body or believe I deserve to get better at your weight. Let's just take the weight off the table. Like, you are a worthy person. You are a human being who DNA and biology works similarly to me, works similarly to everybody here. And so you deserve happiness and you deserve joy and you deserve peace and you deserve to not have such a fucked up relationship with your body and food. Do you have to like your weight? No, you don't. You don't have to like your body. You just also don't have to hate it. And you don't have to like force it into a certain shape or weight. You can not like your weight and want to take care of yourself and want to work on your relationship with yourself, and weight have nothing to do with that at all. And so I would say, you know, can you work on like respecting your body, or can you work on just kind of like appreciating your body instead? And sugar-free codeine body acceptance is something that takes time. Absolutely. I always say that that is probably one of the last pieces of the puzzle in recovery that needs to get kind of put in there. I don't often start doing body acceptance work with clients kind of like initially. You work on that after you are feeling less disconnected from your body. It's really hard to do body acceptance work when you're so disconnected from your body, you know, and you don't have those hunger and fullness cues. And I always say that having an eating disorder is like your head's been kind of removed from your body and placed to the side, right? Like you're super sensitive in your body, but you're so like kind of mentally, psychologically disconnected from it that you like cues aren't always there. So it's hard to do body acceptance work when that isn't working. So it does take a long time to get there. That doesn't mean that you have to like your body to begin recovery. Body acceptance comes later. Like that may not even come while you're in treatment. I'll be honest, it may not. Body acceptance is a thing that I think we work on our whole lives. As long as you have a body, you're going to be in a relationship with your body, honestly. Like, so I think it's an everyday ongoing fluid factor that we have in our lives. So if you're waiting to like your body to begin working on your relationship with food, just start now. Because if you're waiting for that day, it may never come. Right, clumsy clouds. Every day of our lives. Okay. So I'm a little woo-woo, and you hear me say this a lot, right? Your relationship with your body's talking to you. Intuitive eating is like this process of tuning into your body and listening, right? Like, that sounds weird, I know, but our psyche, our consciousness, there's so many words for it, our spirit, right? That's gonna change day to day, kind of like how much energy we have to bring into the world, and how much just like mental junk is gonna get in the way throughout the day. I think that depends day to day, but your life is hopefully going to continue on for a really long time. And so as long as you have a body, you have a relationship with your body, and that relationship is not this static check mark, here I am. It is an ongoing every day. It is like a separate person, truly. It's like you have a little you, a baby you, and that's your body, and it's our job to take care of baby body, right? To keep it as, I don't want to say that bullshit. It's our job to do the best that we can to honor and take care of our body, because that is what allows us to move through this space and get stuff done and live life in the best that we can, right? And I'm trying to be careful with my words, because I want to be aware of, you know, that there are health disease and abilities. And you know, it's not always easy to accept your body when it doesn't move or work or flow or go in the way that you would like it to, or the way that society would like it to. And so acceptance is that, right? Acceptance is saying, where am I at? Where are my abilities? What are the resources that are available to me? And how do I acknowledge that taking care of my body is important? And what am I able to do to take care of my body? How much can I tune in and check in with myself to do the best that I can to just care for me? Okay, I'm looking at, okay, there's a lot of people talking to each other on TikTok. Awesome, thank you. I'm looking for, there were some questions. Am I missing any questions? Yes, we deserve everything good in our life. A scale is only good on fish, not in our life. I love that. A scale is only good for fish. Or like if you're ordering, like sometimes I guess in the deli, because they charge you by the pound and I don't want to be charged extra. So they can weigh my deli meat just to make sure they're not going to charge me more. Talk about fear foods. I think they're different for everybody. Fear foods are. So do you have any question in particular about fear foods? I think fear foods become a fear food for a few reasons. Diet culture in the world that we live in, right? They like labeling foods a certain way, assigning moral character and moral value to food. That's where these fear foods come from. Fear foods also, I think, can come from traumas. Fear foods may become a scarcity. You may develop a fear around food or food group because like you got sick, and that has affected how you see food. So I think those are a few reasons why fear foods become a thing. What I find is that most people in recovery kind of relate over having similar fear foods. But I think that everyone is also different. And so it's okay if you have a food that you're afraid to eat that maybe you haven't heard that somebody else has. Because we have to also consider cultural food, cultural foods, you know, like, so let's say for example, so I'm just a basic American white girl, but Muslim culture, Jewish cultures have traditions that involve food. Well, let's say there was a food trauma or fear food around that, right? Recovery is about, like, if you can't do your religion or you can't practice a tradition that's really important to you because of like food anxieties, there are certain foods that you're not able to eat because it's a fear food, right? You want to work on that. I want everybody in recovery to work on anxiety around food. I want you to know that you could sit down to eat something and it's okay to eat it, but we are still allowed to have food preferences. So, you know, I think we work on challenging fear foods in recovery to bring down the anxiety around food, because we don't want any anxiety when eating. Again, we want to know that I can eat and it's safe and I'm okay and this is okay, right? But when you are in a place in recovery where that anxiety is gone around food, we are allowed to have food preferences. And I'm even going to say, depending on if you're like early in recovery and on a meal plan or in treatment or something, I think you can still have food preferences, right? It's where it gets really nuanced and understanding the level of like anxiety or the level of just upset that comes with eating that food. This is a good question. Bree, zero, a bunch of zeros, SH. Not really happy. I'm sorry you're having such a hard time. Dealing with sadness and depression. I call it like that meh feeling. And that will affect our appetite for sure. And I always say eating disorder behaviors are never about the food and the weight. Eating disorder behaviors are a coping skill. They help us deal with emotional upsets in our lives. And so the question is, how do I feel genuinely happy? Do you need medicine? Because sometimes that happens. We need medicine to level our brain chemistry to make us happier. Do you need to eat more? Probably. And I know it's not as easy as just eating, but I'm just kind of, this is what I would be going through if you were a client of mine. How much are you eating? Do we need to get food intake up? Because certainly if we're not eating enough, it'll affect our mood. And will, you know, increase depression and decrease happy thoughts. Then I think it would be, maybe it's sitting down and writing a list of values, your top 5, your top 10 values, you know, like what are the things that are most important to you? And maybe you just look at a list that you Google. And then ask yourself, can I take steps? What 1, 2 to 3 things can I do today that are going to help me be more in alignment with these values? And when we're living life in alignment with those values, I'm not going to say that we're happy and cheerful and joyful all the time, because life is a bitch, but that's what gives us that like passion, that sort of like oomph, that motivation, that joy, right? And do you need to talk to somebody? Do you need to journal? Art or some creative outlet is a beautiful way for people to work through those feelings. But I think to be genuinely happy, we have to also embrace the hard, sad times too. And so it's okay that you're sad right now. Don't fight the sadness, and give yourself permission to feel sad and cry. And like, it's okay that you're sad. Don't get stuck there, and take care of yourself. That's going to help you get out of it. But if you can say, you know what, it's also okay to be sad. And I'm just going to care for myself while I'm sad. It helps us appreciate the happiness on the other side of the sadness too. a lot of questions on here about eating in front of other people. Make sure you're just eating. Make sure you're just eating with people who love you and who support you and who want to see you do well. I know that's not always easy, especially for people who have abusive parents. So find the people in your life who like get you, and people who are safe to talk to, and have them eat meals with you. So my friends, this is always my struggle with this. It's not enough time. I could sit here and be live with y'all all day because it's so much for me. It's so fun for me. Oh, Bib170, today is the first day you're eating something for lunch in a long time. So proud of you. Congratulations. Good job. Yay. And I've got to hop off because I have a group at 1 o'clock for the Recovery Academy. If anybody's looking for that support, if anybody's looking for people who get it, maybe you don't have access to a therapist, or maybe you don't have access to eating disorder help, check out recovery-academy.com. I teach y'all everything I know about eating disorders and how to recover from one, and we have a lot of support in the community. I think the community is what makes it so helpful for people, because you're there holding hands and walking alongside people who also get an eating disorder and who understand recovery. So check out recovery-academy.com. But that's why I have to hop off, because we have a group Mondays at 1 o'clock. So I'm gonna go see my Recovery Academy folks. And if y'all want more information on that, recovery-academy.com. But I will be back next Monday. And yeah, y'all are great. I love this time. Oh, thank you. Well, I'll be back Monday. So y'all come, bring your snack, bring your meal, and we'll chat and hang out. Okay, y'all are awesome. Bye.